close to any other chassis that's out there. It's made to run millions of miles, without a doubt. The craftsmanship that it takes to do this, it takes time to get the team that we have in place to be able to get to this level.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have found one of the most expensive motor coaches in the world. It's an honor to be hanging out with Frank Koenigsegger at Liberty Coach. How are you doing today, sir?
Great. Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. And this 2025 quad slide Liberty Coach is arguably one of the most expensive motor coaches in the world. What is it about Liberty Coach and this being a quad slide artist series that commands such a premium over other motor coaches out there?
Well, as we've gone over in the past, the quality, the technology, what we do on the inside, in the bays, the Prevost chassis being a quad slide, the quad slide chassis is more expensive than the triples and the doubles. The paint work that Dean does, and then whatever the client then did with Dean or the art of design in the artistry series would raise that up somewhat as well. So that's why we get into that category for sure.
Yes, sir, and it really shows in your pre-owned market as well. Liberty Coach really commands a premium on the pre-owned market. And today we're going to take a look at a pre-owned. We're going to do another quick video on some of your pre-owned inventory here. But what is the story with this 2025?
This coach has been built for a specific client. In fact, it's going to deliver here in the next couple of days. So we got it in here just about a week ago. So we've got it all ready to roll as far as PDIing and get it all shined up, ready to go for them after it made the trip from our manufacturing facility up in North Chicago down here to Stuart. So we're just getting it all ready here to deliver here.
Yes, sir. And how many coaches is Liberty Coach building every year, and about how long does it take for Liberty Coach to build this coach, starting with the Prevost shell?
Well, once we get the shell in-house, you're probably looking at about 10 months-ish, something like that, because of the time it takes for us to prep the coach before it goes to the art of design, the Dean shop, and then once it comes back for us to do the interior part. We're looking at right around 12 units per year that we're doing. This coach happens to be coach number 920.
Now, does Liberty Coach have any plans on building more than 12 coaches a year, or is there a reason you're not building more?
Well, we'd like to build more if we could. It's just at the level that we are and the quality of what we do, the craftsmanship that it takes to do this, it takes time to get the team that we have in place when you add other team members to it to be able to get to this level. So, labor is a situation that we all deal with in manufacturing as far as that goes. So at this point, and we have been for a few years here at that 12 unit per year production level, so that's kind of still where we're at.
Well, and at this level of quality, we've had a lot of chances to see a lot of the pre-owned market and how coaches age over time. And recently we've saw some 30, 40-year-old Liberty coaches, and the camera operator and I were talking about just how impressed we are with how well they build up over time. And what was you and your family doing back in the 80s to build such a high quality coach that still is on the road today? And what are you doing with the newer coaches that's different than the older?
Well, that platform as far as how the interior construction is done, how the coach is put together on the inside, how things are attached, that same process is somewhat still the platform that we build upon. So, we're building the coach to be able to perform and last for the long haul, for sure.
Absolutely. And of course, we've seen a lot of technology, and then the Dean Laux paint jobs came in a little over 12 years ago. And then your sister-in-law, Kim, the interiors that she's been coming up with just over the top. But can we take a closer look at this coach today?
Yeah, absolutely. First bay here is going to be a full pass-through bay. Again, we've got this coach ready for delivery, so it has all its equipment that is necessary for delivery. Blackout style under bay treatment that we started back on coach 908, still doing here today, which we have moved forward with throughout the production. Drawer storage here as well on top. This has got 2 slide-out trays, one on either side of the bay. These bays on the slide-out trays, we manufacture those in-house, so we can make them a very low profile, so it gives you more storage ability on top. We have the chairs, the awning chairs to sit outside. They're mounted on the back side of this door here, and then we've got them on the driver's side, first 2 bay doors, because of the way that the second door panel levers on the bay this way. We were then able to accommodate the 65-inch TV outside, slides out. That is done on a slide system that we manufacture in-house.
And the sound bar mounted
Yeah.
to the TV as well.
Soundbar mounted on the bottom of the TV.
And we've talked about it in other videos, the clarity of your TVs. It's not just the TV, but it's all of the wiring and the hardware to run that. What are you doing differently that creates such a clear image on the TV?
Well, the digital switching matrix that we use, the fiber optic cabling for HDMI that we utilize as well, that's custom made for us to a specific length to go from the source to the switcher, from the switcher then to the AVR unit for the sound processing, and then to the actual display, the TV, as far as that goes. So in doing that, we've eliminated the interruptions on the way, so then you do have a very, very clear, precise picture, and sound as well. Down here then we also have the refrigerator, the entertainment center bay. We've got a Crestron control system here. This controls the entire coach as far as exterior and interior. There is separate remote controls handheld out here to be able to operate the TVs, lighting, the awnings, that type of equipment out here as well. Storage drawers here. These are all on self-closing. We have the awning controls here also, so we have redundancy built in. We've talked about that as well. We do a lot of redundancy in what we build. Remote controls decide to hiccup. You still have the ability to get lighting on, to get, like for an example, the awnings down here in on their own controls as well.
And how big are the awnings on the door side of this coach?
On the quad slide and on the triples, they're identical. There's 4 awnings and they cover the entire full length of the coach, and they come out, if I'm not mistaken, 9 feet, and they're a 2-stage awning.
Now on the double slides, is that gonna be a little different configuration?
Double slide's gonna be a single stage, 9 foot, 2 of them on the passenger side, and then on the driver's side, it'll be the 2-stage to get over the slide rooms, 9 feet.
Okay, but triples and quads, basically what we call the bat wing awnings are standard?
Yep, exactly. And then the third bay here, this is all storage. We have the grill unit here, the Kenyon grill that take out, put on a table, plug in. This unit is magnificent for cooking. I have one at my house as well.
The cabinetry here, when you're opening and closing those doors, I can just tell how smooth it is. And when you feel it, it's that same, like a Mercedes-Benz or a Bentley. What is it, is that all built in-house at Liberty Coach?
Yes, all this we build in-house. Most everything that we'll see in the coach and in the bays, we build in-house. So we don't subcontract out cabinetry, that type of stuff. Some of the furniture we do as far as that goes, and some of it we do recover or cover to what we need to in-house. But most of the other equipment and cabinetry-wise, ceiling systems, tile work, all that we do in-house.
But I know you're the only one in the industry that I've ever heard of to offer a lifetime workmanship warranty to the original owner that includes squeaks and rattles. In an 88 Liberty Coach we drove, there was not a single squeak or rattle. We couldn't believe it. And I think that goes back to that cabinetry. Now, the cabinetry that you built inside of the coach, is it going to be the same quality of what you put into the bays? Or?
Oh, yes, certainly. It's the same type of material that's used to be able to do the cabinetry. The drawers are a little bit different because they're outside. But as far as interior-wise, the cabinet structure, as far as what you see in the walls and what have you, is going to be the same that we do inside as well. Because we do use a lot of the lightweight materials to be able to comply with the chassis weight specifications. So all of that is going to be the same from inside to outside. On the inside of the coach, the way that the cabinetry is done and secured to the beam work of the coach, we put the cabinetry in first, and then the ceiling systems go in last. We don't have, cabinets crushing up into the ceiling, if you will, and then requiring longer screws, which at some point in time, everything begins to move. So the cabinetry, just like what you would see down here, is a finished piece of furniture before it's put in the coach. Doors are on, drawers are done, all of that is done, then taken off, and then the cabinetry is put into place.
And is that the same process Liberty Coach has always used? I know you've been over 50 years of your family building these coaches, and I'm sure there's a lot of lessons that have been learned over those 50 years.
Plenty, without a doubt. But yeah, pretty much the same type of process as far as that goes. Now we have different machinery today than obviously we did many years ago. So some of that is CNC machinery to be able to cut the cabinetry, cut walls, cut panels, countertops, that type of stuff, which previously, that many years ago was all done by hand. So we're more precise today in what we build than we did many years ago, even though, as a testament to what you saw in that 88 model coach, it was pretty well put together.
And do you remember the first time, I don't know how you and your family were brave enough to make the statement that you would offer a lifetime workmanship warranty, including squeaks and rattles, to the original owner? When did you start doing that, or when did Liberty Coach start doing that?
It's been a while back, yeah. But to the original owner, we have done that, and it's proven to work out well.
Yeah, the only one in the industry that can say that.
Fourth bay here, again, more storage. We have the drawers here. On the other side of this wall is going to be the DEF tank. The DEF tank is filled from the driver's side of the coach. You have fuel fill on both sides of the coach. Fuel fill here with a locking cap, and fuel fill on the other side. And once again, the DEF is filled up on that side of the coach. So we have enough DEF carrying capacity here to basically go from Los Angeles, California to New York. Typically when I'm running a coach, because the DEF is right next to the fuel pump, go ahead and top off the DEF at the same time topping off the fuel. So makes it just easy, and you're always, topped off on DEF. It's because it's always good to keep that DEF moving through there.
Yes, sir. And how big is the diesel fuel tank?
200 gallons.
And what type of mileage per gallon? I know people don't ask often on a machine like this, but what type of MPG are you getting?
A lot of people that are using the coaches, the 9660s, especially now, are probably seeing somewhere in the 7s, towing probably in the low 7s, high 6s, towing stackers probably touching into that 6 mile of a gallon range. So people have definitely noticed on the 9660s, that it has enhanced the fuel economy for sure.
Yes, sir. So people can push, probably 1,000 plus miles without needing to refuel?
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Wow.
Yep, for sure. This grill work here, this is the condensing unit for the driver's air conditioning system that's on the coach. So this coach has 4 15,000 BTU roof air conditioning units on it. They're the Dometic units, the reverse cycle heat pump systems, and then it has the dash air, which is from Prevost, and that dash air comes at the dash area of the coach, of course, and then it also has a separate auxiliary blower that comes behind the driver and passenger seat as well. So this area here is for that. This was placed here when Prevost, back on the 2019 model year chassis, which would be our 2020 models, ended up doing or made the change to the electric fans, which then increased fuel economy, but then they needed an extra area for the condenser for the AC unit here. So instead of letting it come through the radiator or pass that same airflow through the radiator to the condenser, they needed all that capacity for the engine, so that's why this was moved over here.
And did that affect the dash AC at all, or improve the dash AC?
Oh, I think so, especially when you look at today, when we go and look at the dash area here on this coach, the 9660, they enhance the airflow for the driver's area for additional supply up higher and below as well, and the passenger side as well.
You've got quite a few of the new 9660 shells under your belt now. How are the owners reacting? Are they noticing a lot of the improvements?
Oh, I think so, for sure. We spoke a little bit about the fuel part of it. They're definitely noticing that they're going beyond where they used to stop for fuel. I definitely see that they've noticed an enhancement. It's a little quieter going down the road because of the shape of the front end. So there's some definite enhancements that's come from that.
And then the e-mirrors, how are folks responding to the e-mirrors?
Oh, they like them. They do. They're getting more and more used to them. All of our coaches that we have through the 2025 model year, most all of them in 2024, have the e-mirrors and the standard Prevost mirrors as well. So they can utilize both. They're getting used to more and more using those e-mirrors also. It's because they do have some definite enhancements when you're driving down the road, especially at night in the rain. I took a coach from the Prevost Expo that was in February up to Daytona for the race. It was at night. It ended up raining. I was trying to utilize those e-mirrors more so than the regular standard mirrors, and it was pretty amazing how much visibility you had in those type of conditions with those e-mirrors.
Yes, sir. And I think they look great. They've got such a sleek profile, and then the regular Prevost mirrors just have a really good look to them too. Even with both sets of mirrors, still a real aggressive front end.
For sure. Fifth bay back here is going to be our water compartment. So we have the fresh water tank, which is stainless steel, the aluminum holding tank. So the fresh water and holding tank are right around about 170 gallons each. There's a single holding tank we do with a gray water bypass. So if you are in an area that you can bypass the gray water and just let the holding tank be a black tank only. So that is done on the other side of the coach. You have the ability to dump the holding tank on both sides, which is not common in our industry. So you can dump the holding tank from either side, whichever is more convenient for you. You can fill the fresh water from either side of the coach as well. The water heater is electric. It's a 40-gallon unit, and it's heated, again, electrically. It also has a heat exchanger, so it's heated from the main engine or from the S-bar unit when it's running, which is your inside heating source or your heating source for the interior of the coach, which also heats this bay. This bay is heated from that S-bar hot water diesel boiler, or it's also heated by electric. Most likely you'd be utilizing the S-bar unit going down the road or the engine heat going down the road to keep this bay warm from freezing, and then when you're parked you'd have electric or the S-bar, either one.
Yes, sir, and a lot of the other companies out there are using hydronic heating systems. Is there a reason that you're using the S-bar system rather than a hydronic heating system?
The S-bar unit has worked out very well for many years for us because it ends up being a little bit more compact. So we have a little bit more flexibility as far as installation. The unit is installed on the driver's side fender well, and then the pump for it is there as well. We utilize a single pump, and that pump circulates the antifreeze from the main engine all the way through the system. So there's, depending on the unit, there's 6 or 7 blowers that are inside the coach and then down in the bays, and those are controlled by individual thermostats. So the S-bar unit is mainly concerned about water temperature or antifreeze temperature, so it maintains a certain temperature level and it cycles on and off to do that. It doesn't really care what the interior temperature is. It's focused on water temperature or antifreeze temperature. So it cycles on and off with that, and then that way that when the blowers come on, they've got heat to them instantly.
And I can imagine there's a pretty significant cost to that system as opposed to the other hydronic heating systems?
Yeah, I would say so, because we do that all in hard wall copper. That's all soldered from the front to the back of the coach, and then there's hose that goes from that to the individual heaters themselves. So there's significant cost in that aspect too, for sure. And then we have here the tankless water heater. The tankless water heater is to the shower valve. So that's an independent heating system. So if there is a problem with the water heater, you can still have hot water to the shower with that tankless system. That's utilized basically as a backup only. The fresh water pump is here. It's the head hunter unit that we utilize. Your water filtration system is here as well. And then we have the Culligan reverse osmosis system, which goes to the refrigerator for the ice maker on the refrigerator and the water dispenser.
Yeah, and I'm noticing some hoses going into this part of the door here. Yeah. What is the, outside shower.
Outside shower.
Yes, sir.
Washout.
Yes, sir. But usually that's going to be closed for the end user, and it'd probably be a technician probably accessing a lot of the...
Exactly. So when you come in and for service and do water filtration changes, that type of stuff, that's when you're going to access that. In this area here, this is going to be the rear Prevost junction electrical area here. This is also where the Prevost chassis batteries are for the chassis and engine starting system is located in here. In this area here, which is our rear engine compartment on this side, we've got a storage box area here that we manufacture for, you can put hoses, whatever you'd like to store back in this area here. We have the 30 amp 220 plug here, which is utilized off the generator or from shore power. You can utilize that to power up any number of things, but a lot of times people utilize that to plug up to their trailer. That's utilized when they're parked, not driving down the road. And then we have the ability to plug the coach in on the starboard or passenger side as well, if need be. Something happens on the cord reel side, or if it's easier to plug in here because of location of shore power or in the shop, then we'll utilize this here. Engine compartment here, this is the 500 horse D13 Volvo with 1,850 foot-pounds of torque. This engine has been a workhorse for us since it was first put into the Prevost shell. Probably been one of the best transitions that we've had from engine to engine comparatively from Detroit when we had those units many years ago. Been a great unit. This is a polished stainless steel belt cover that we manufacture and we put on. Some people like to have it on, some people don't. It just depends. This just makes it easier, nicer, cleaner with the belts that are here. We have two 10,000 watt or 10 kW alternators back here that are running off the main engine to charge the Volta 58 volt house battery system that we have. And then you've got the driver's air conditioning compressor that's running back here on the belts as well. This particular system has an air belt tightening arrangement to keep the belts tight over on this side, and then the rest of the belts that you can see on the diagram here that are running back here are in spring tension. So we talk about serviceability on the Prevost chassis many different times. The chassis itself, as opposed to any other chassis that's out there, is made to run millions of miles, without a doubt. And with as many units as they build per year, as many years as they've been in production, as you know, we've talked about the 100th anniversary that we were all a part of this past September. All of that knowledge, all of those miles going down the road has brought us to where we are today on this chassis. So they're service-minded, they're very focused on longevity as far as the shell part goes, and as far as, again, the serviceability, how to be able to get to pieces or parts or what have you that may have an issue. So, you know, they're very focused on that as far as that goes, like we are in what we build also.
And I'm noticing Artist Series number 35, which is hard to imagine that you've had 35 Artist Series Dean Laux paint jobs. I know it's a significant cost to add the Artist Series to the already expensive Dean Laux paint job, but there's got to be hundreds of Liberty coaches out there now with the Dean Laux paint jobs, and 35 of them have the Artist Series?
Yes, I think the very first coach number that we started with Dean was coach number 745, and here we are with coach 920. There's a number of them, obviously, that are out there, and now 35 of them that are Artist Series.
Well, and that's a huge cost. You know, Dean Laux is a world-renowned artist who had a huge name in the powerboat industry before he came into the motor coach world, and he kind of went all in with Liberty Coach about 12 years ago. And I know that costs a lot of money to have your paint jobs on another level, but what made you decide to go all in with Dean and spend all that money on paint?
Basically because of the fact that all of the coaches coming down the road that many years ago were all looking the same swirls, and I mean all of them, from Class A's to Prevost. They all were starting to look the same coming down the road, and at that time made a decision that, you know, we need to make something happen here, a different look, a different feel. At that time, Dean had been doing some specialty stuff for us. Dean and I have been friends for a number of years, and he was doing some specialty artist type work on coaches, if you want to call it murals or whatever, for selected clients. So we had done a little bit of work here and there over the years, and so at that time I sat down with him, and then we all kind of collaborated on, okay, can we do something different here? And pretty soon it was kind of clear that it was going to have to be done in his shop. We just couldn't have the graphics done, it was going to have to be done in his shop. So that's when it all started. So our processes had to change as well, as far as when we got the coach, when we started the interior, when the paint was done, all of that. So when we get the coach, it's essentially in a primered form, if you could call it that, and then we do the top caps, front and rear. We do the front end treatment as well, and then that is applied, and then the coach goes to Dean, and then it gets painted, and then we get it back, and then we do the interior part.
Sounds like you took a gamble, because some of the Dean Laux paint jobs are pretty aggressive and pretty wild. I mean, there's a lot going on, but when you go to an RV resort and you see a Liberty coach, they just have a totally different look, and they're very identifiable right out of the gate. And
without a doubt,
everyone in the industry, everywhere we go, says that Dean Laux leads the industry. I think there's a lot of people kind of copying a lot of his designs. If you watch the Class A industry, you'll see, you're like, wait, that was Coach, I think 867. I've seen a lot of designs that resemble Liberty Coach 867. You know what year 867 was?
867 would have been a 21, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Yeah, now 24, 25, we're starting to see a lot of people taking that similar design. So, you know, imitation's the best form of flattery, but your partnership with Dean Laux has definitely led the exterior paint designs in the motor coach industry. I think it's pushed everybody else to improve as well.
Sure, there's no question. And then as we come around the back of the coach, 9660, the enhancements that they did on the chassis, we've talked about before, of how the back end of the coach was changed. And then the upper cap design that's above the clearance lights, which my brother Kurt did a significant amount of work on. There was probably about 2 years in the design process of that to do this rear cap as well as the front cap, which interfaces the awnings so that everything is smooth across the top of the coach. The rear cap then encompasses the exhaust stack from the engine exhaust as well. So we just don't have a stack that's standing up there that you can see. It's all encompassed internally inside of that rear cap also, and then it enhances the back end design that Prevost did to try and knock the wind down, or, you know, as far as aerodynamics, which keeps the back of the coach cleaner also and enhances the fuel economy up as well.
Yeah, really clean look. And I like to point out, we were just talking about the Dean Laux paint job. When you look closely, even in the air dam there, where you can't always see with the naked eye, that's fully finished out, you know, the edges, and then, you know, as we take a couple steps back from the coach with the perforated vinyl, all the way into the front windows, just the whole package, just a motor coach that looks unlike anything out there.
For sure. So as we come around the driver's side, slide room, we talk about this a few different times, how, you know, clean and smooth, and how, you know, you can walk underneath it, you're not knocking your head on it. There's a lot to be said with that. We have around the coach these devices, which are basically radar units. That's for the blind spot detection system, which Liberty Coach introduced on Coach 865, which would have been our first 2021 model unit. So there's 3 of these devices down the side of the coach on either side. So, and then there's indicators that are on the dash pillars, the center pillar and the driver's A-pillar, to be able to indicate when there's something on the either side of the coach. And also gets you to about 20 feet behind the coach as well. So it kind of picks up right around where your tow vehicle is or trailer is as well.
Yes, sir. And then to put that metallic paint on top of those, I know there's a lot of testing that goes in to make sure that the paint isn't interfering with that technology. So a lot of thought goes into that.
Driver's side here of the water compartment. We've got the stainless steel cover that covers the face of the aluminum holding tank. This copper system that we put in the coach, that's been a trademark, if you will, on our coaches for a number of years. That's the gray water bypass system. We have the holding tank dump here on this side, so the hose comes on, clamps onto the bayonet, and then this covers it up so we don't have anything crawling up inside the coach. Fixes like so, driving down the road. These are air-operated cylinders, so you have air operation for the dump valves as far as that goes. You've got your freshwater tank monitor and holding tank monitor. There's one on either side of the coach, as well as on all the Crestron and iPad displays. And you have push-button backups for those also. So, you know, you can operate them here or operate them anywhere inside the coach. Inside the coach, they're secured by a password, so you can't accidentally hit them while you're inside the coach, not out here seeing what's going on.
Yes, sir.
We have a hand sprayer that pulls out here for spraying out the area.
Maybe wash the dog off out here?
Everything.
Yes, sir.
Hose reel, we got a 100-foot hose reel here. This is electrically on a retract and it's manually pulled out. Sewer hoses are located in here. You've got 2 units, one's an extension and one is the main one that would hook on. And then we have shelving area around here as far as for storage of different pieces of equipment. And heat on this side as well. We have a holding tank washout system so that you can press the button on here to be able to wash out the holding tank as if you need to. So that takes the pressurized water from the system to wash out the holding tank. So every so often it's a good idea to do that. Fresh water tank can be dumped from the driver's side. It's got an air valve to dump that as well, and it's good to be able to flush that system out occasionally as well. Even though it's stainless steel, it's a good idea. This area here, 4th bay driver's side, can be configured a couple of different ways. This has the storage bins here. This can also be done as a closet arrangement or closet with bins. It just depends on what the client would like to do. And then over on this side, as I said on the other side, the driver's side fuel is done here. So you've got a locking mechanism here that opens this door. You've got fuel, and then you have DEF. So as we've kind of discussed in the past, the fuel is right here, so you're not, you know, looking for where the fuel is compared to where the DEF. It's all done in the same location, so you're not crawling underneath a compartment to put DEF in, or you're not having to do it manually. It can all be done right here.
Yes, sir, and I'm noticing a camera up top here, just above the fuel door. Is that able to be accessed when you're pulling up to a fuel pump? Can you look at just that camera to see where you're lining up?
Oh yeah, you sure can.
Nice, that'll come in handy when you're pulling in late to a truck stop or something.
Yeah, the 360 camera system was something that we introduced on the coaches back, if I'm not mistaken, it was in 2016. It was the first system that was done that could be on a vehicle that was over 26 feet long. So we've been utilizing that for, you know, quite a few years. It's been a real successful system for us. Generator bay is here. We've got 12.5 kW Onan located here in its own hush box. Plus we build a whole hush box system around it as well.
And those hold up so well. We've seen some of your pre-owned Liberty coaches when we open that bay, they look like brand new. Just such a timeless design on your generator door there.
A lot of people aren't running the generator that much because of as much battery power as we have. Because with the 2 Volta packs, we've got a significant amount of energy there. So the people are not utilizing the generator as much as they would have in the past.
And how long have you been utilizing lithium technology?
Since our 2011 model coaches. And then we switched over to the Volta system in 2017 model year. So we've been utilizing their system since then.
You've been in the lithium business almost as long as Elon Musk. Not too many people in the world can say they have that much experience.
Yeah.
You got to have over 100 coaches now with lithium in it. A lot of people were reluctant to use that technology, but how has it worked out for your owners?
It's been working out very well for us. People are utilizing that. For example, with 2 of those packs on a coach like this, you could run 2 roof air units plus some of the other equipment in the coach, depending on the outside temperature. With the alternator system that's on the back of the coach with those 2 units, you can charge that system back within like probably 2.5 to 3 hours of driving down the road. Or with the generator on or shore power utilized, you're looking at probably about 7 to 8 hours to charge those packs back. So it's been a real good system for us.
Well, and again, that just shows you leading the way. I think everybody else in the industry has kind of started to use lithium technology. You're definitely way ahead of the learning curve. And I've seen other companies, put in a lithium system that only costs like $20,000. And we've talked in the past about the cost of your lithium system. What's the difference between your lithium system that I think is around $90,000 compared to like these $20,000, $30,000 lithium systems?
Well, the systems themselves are very expensive to package, to put together, to install. The inverter systems that we utilize are expensive as well. We've got 3 5,000 watt inverter units in there. One of the inverter units, its purpose in life is just to run the sensitive electronics that are in the coach, like your televisions, your Apple TVs, the remote control systems being Crestron, the refrigerator. Some of that equipment is utilized just on that because it doesn't sense any changeover of power. It's always running, on inverter power all the time. So it doesn't see anything as far as a generator to shore transition like the rest of the coach does. So then you have the other 2 units that are running. Those 2 can be piggybacked, so then you'd have the ability to run 220 volt equipment as well, such as the Miele microwave convection oven unit or the washer dryer. That type of stuff can be utilized on there as well.
So a lot more than just the batteries. It's the inverters, the hardware, everything that goes into the system.
Alternators, everything that goes into the system.
Yes, sir.
So this second bay here is where a lot of our electrical architecture is done. We've got the transfer switch for the generator shore to inverter package is done in here. We have bypasses, so if we need to, we can bypass part of the system over if we need to as a backup. We have the watchdogs that are for generator starting and also for the shore power transition. We have the display for Volta down here as well, so we can check on their systems as far as how that is working out. And then we have the DC distribution panel here that goes to each one of the DC boxes. We've talked about in the past the architecture that we utilize is Moritz Octoplex. So there's individual DC and AC distribution boxes for that system. The DC side has electronically programmed circuit breakers, so we program those breakers from 1 amp to 30 amp, depending on what the load is, and that's all utilized on a touchscreen system that's inside the coach. So if a breaker trips, as opposed to a fuse, and you've got to start looking all over the coach or trying to find diagrams and what have you to find out where a fuse is and emptying out closets, we know where the system is got an issue based upon the flat panel, and most likely you can just go ahead and reset that from a touch. If not, if you need to, then we know where the boxes are that we can go in and either replace a breaker, or there's internal fuses on those as well that can be replaced.
Yes, super easy to use, much easier than fumbling around in a breaker box to just press a button.
Exactly. Fuses wise, essentially the fuses that are in the coach are located here on this one bulkhead. There's probably about 6 or 8 fuses that are in the coach compared to other units that are out there. Generator starting batteries located here as well. We also have a buddy plug here that if you wanted to, you could run something off of the generator if need be, another coach, something else at your house, whatever, you can utilize that as well. We've been putting the buddy plug system in there for a long time. So just another bonus.
And this, we've mentioned it before, I think it's this button right here. Is it this button where you can turn off the whole system if you're gonna have the coach sitting for a few months, I believe?
Right. You can on that system as well. You can go ahead and shut the entire system down as far as the house system goes. So you can shut that system down and it can stay at a fully charged state for probably 3 months. It'll deplete somewhat, but at least after that period of time, when you go to turn that back on again, then everything comes back up in what's called a clean reboot. because you do have the power. So you've got everything coming on in a nice clean reboot, so everything comes back up as necessary.
And how long have you had that technology in Liberty Coach?
Well, since the Volta package was put in, so since the 2017 coach model year era.
Yeah, really nice. I remember in the past, Prevost conversions, including Liberty Coach, you always basically had to have plug into 50 amp, but real nice to be able to store it for a few months if you need.
Driver's side here, again, we have the slide out tray arrangement here. We have the equipment that's mounted on the forward bulkhead wall, has to do with the dash stereo system. So we've got a really nice sound system for the dash area going down the road as well. And then the Prevost slide system, all of their equipment is located in this area here. This tilts down. That's where all the control circuitry is for the slide rooms from Prevost, as well as how the system airs up their bladders for sealing the slides also. So this was a change on the 9660 to have this door here for on the driver's side access. So Prevost electrical system is located back here, and then we have the air system for auxiliary air hookup right here from the auxiliary system from Prevost. So if you needed to, you could air up tires, do that type of stuff. Airing up car tires, it's a little difficult on the big tires because they take a lot of volume. The windshield washer fluid is located in here as well, but this made access to the system a lot easier on the 9660 compared to on the Classics.
Yes, sir, and I know a lot of folks refer to Liberty Coach as the Rolls-Royce of motor coaches. So it's only proper that you've got the center caps that are always level facing. Yeah. How long have you been having the floating center caps?
Since we did the 9660 chassis.
Nice.
So back in 24.
Yeah.
24-year model.
Yeah, nothing like a Liberty Coach with those floating center caps going down the road, very identifiable. And then coming around to the front end, we talked a little bit about the E-mirrors, but what else is going on up front here?
Well, the 9660 is a more rounded shape, if you will, or more of a curvature, not rounded so much, but a curvature shape to it. The LED lighting system that they did here is very advanced, very, very intense going down the road as far as being able to see, at night. It's really sweet going down the road. You've got in the front area here what they call a frunk. This opens up to be able to access the driver's AC and heating system. That used to be accessed only from the inside of the coach. Now with the access here, it makes things a lot easier for design work on the inside, or more flexibility, I should say, not so much easier. Windshield wipers are a synchronous motor system as opposed to a tie bar in between, so the wipers are enhanced as well. The wipers are taller because you've got taller windshields also. The whole front end arrangement really is enhanced. Our package here that we do on the front, the Liberty Coach logo illuminates as well.
And that backlit Liberty Coach logo, was that new for the 9660?
Yes, yeah, sure was. That was all part of what Kurt had actually come up with the front end package, and then of course with the cap arrangement. We discussed that as far as on the back of the coach. The front of the coach, then that cap arrangement was done at the same time when he was designing all that. So that was part of that couple-year process to do that, and then the cockpit also in the front of the coach for the driver. So it was a big package to put all together here.
Yes, sir, and what your brother did, taking the 9660 shell and adding those little touches to it, and then having Dean put his touches just over the top, probably the most identifiable front end in the motor coach industry, without a doubt.
For sure. Bumper arrangement is similar from the Classic, except the Classic, the bumper was a one-piece unit. This does drop down as one piece, but it is in 3 sections, so it's easier to repair if you've got an issue there. And behind the front bumper, we have storage here, as well as the auxiliary air compressor that we put on board is located in that area also. So front of the coach, you can see, has the Prevost mirrors here, and then on the sides up on top then are the E-mirror units.
Now, before we take a look inside, I've got to ask you one more question about the exterior of this coach. Now, this paint job, I'm trying to get an idea of what it is, and I remember the 50 Shades of White coach. Is it possible that this is maybe a 50 Shades of Gray coach?
It's a possibility. I was there for when the client was picking out, so it's a possibility.
Well, I know Dean Laux works closely with the owners to kind of get their inspiration for the different design themes. We saw a 007 theme design come through recently, but really cool to see. I think I'm going to dub this one 50 Shades of Gray, unless you guys think differently. But do you think we could take a look at the interior?
Absolutely.
I I just called the exterior 50 Shades of Gray. I think this is more like 50 Shades of White on this interior.
I think so.
Very spacious, being a quad slide. What's all going on in the interior?
This was done by the client and Kim together. They came in and collaborated that together. Quad slides, bath and half unit, lots of room with the quad, with the flat floor as well that Prevost has on their passenger side quad unit. So we've got a single chair arrangement here on the front, desk arrangement with pull out here, storage down in this area here. You could put a printer down there if you wanted to. More storage in here, as well as storage on either side. Chair is an electric recliner, electric footrest unit that comes out. Couch, this jackknifes down to a bed. Even with the slides in, you have the ability to completely come through the coach here, as opposed to other units. Class A units, you know, they're a lot tighter coming in. Prevost slide arrangement, the way that it's done when this is all together, it essentially feels like being in a non-slide coach, you know, similar to that 88 that you were running around in there, test driving. All of the cabinetry wise, it's all done here. And countertop, we do all this stuff in-house, as we had talked about on the exterior. Countertop has waterfall arrangement. They opted to do no handles on the cabinets in here. So we've got latching, lighting inside of each cabinet as well. Paper towel holder is done here, so the paper towels are installed through the bottom and they come down through here, so you're not sitting on top of the counter arrangement. A lot of drawer space here, garbage can unit here, nice area here around the sink drain for storage, and then cabinets below as well. Have the microwave Miele unit, which is also a oven and convection oven and microwave unit. And then we have the Wolf induction cooktop unit here.
And I couldn't even tell that there was a cover. I thought that was one large countertop because the gap is so tight. And, you know, the cameras don't do justice. Seeing this coach in person, and there's different shades of whites, but there's so many textures on every, you know, even the countertop has a slight texture to it. The ceiling treatment has a slight texture. The backs of the chairs, just over the top. And then I'm noticing something a little different towards the front of the coach here. This doesn't look like I recall in the past. Did you change something up in this part of the coach a little bit? Was this always a little bit?
No, the quad slides always had this piece in here.
The shorter.
And it's just basically to keep things from coming forward, and it also houses the flashlight unit in here as well. Whatever we can try and find storage for. Flashlight's always nice to grab if you need to on the way out the door for whatever reason.
Yeah, that looks like a real deal mag light, like the police officers use.
It is, for sure.
Coming back up to the cockpit area, you know, the seats, again, reminds me of the Designo interior on the Mercedes-Benz. And it looks like the steering wheel is even more of a white than we've seen. Is that an update as well?
Yeah, this entire dash arrangement here, as far as the upholstery and the colors and what have you, is all picked out by the client and with Kim. Steering wheel cover as well. This 9660 ushered in a new change to our cockpit that Kurt designed and put together. So you've got quite a bit of things that are specific to Liberty Coach here. Steering wheel cover, the bonnet, the way that the dash is done in this area, the passenger side area as well. There's all kinds of different molds and things that were done from the driver's side all the way over into the entry door, as well as everything that's above here. So, you know, the 9660 ushered in a new change for Prevost on how the coach starts. We now have a key fob arrangement and a push button start compared to the past key start units. We did some changes here on switching so that we could consolidate more of the switches to this side, and then we have a significant amount of control on our driving page of the iPad, which this is an iPad Pro unit here. We do a 10-inch display here. This happens to be a Pioneer radio. Your cell phone can clamp into a charging device here, and you can AirPlay that, either Android or Apple. We spoke about, while we were outside, the dash air conditioning system. We now have air delivery that's up higher here on the dash, as well as below and to the feet area. The steering wheel has significant controls with the new display. The e-mirror displays are here, so you've got them right on the center pillar and also on the A-pillar. So basically you're looking straight out and you can see pretty much everything that's going on from this point. And then you could also bring up the 360 camera system, which we talked about before, the overhead or bird's eye view camera system you can bring up here as well. So you've got a lot of stuff that's happening here for safety and technology to aid the driver. The advanced driver assist program that Prevost has on the system as well mounted to the passenger side glass as a device for collision alert. We also have lane departure here as well on the Prevost driver system, and their advanced cruise control for adaptive cruise was modified and changed here on the 9660 as well. We have a center pillar monitor here as well, so that you can utilize that to see behind the coach or inside of a trailer. Again, lots of viewing here to be able to aid the driver in being able to see what's happening pretty much all the way around around the coach, or for an example in the trailer or the tow vehicle as far as that goes. Leveling system is done here. The Prevost leveling system on the 9660 went to 4 options as far as leveling. You've got the left front, the left rear, and the right rear, so you have more flexibility on the leveling. The dash area, these panels that we have here, we have different types of panels that we can put on, as far as this is, you know, a shiny kind of piano finish. There's carbon fiber, so they've got a couple of different options that are there. I forget what the third one is. There's a matte finish one as well. So we've got a few different options going on here. But the upholstery wise that we do, when you look at how the stitching is all done, we do all this in-house at our manufacturing facility in North Chicago, Illinois. So this is quite the system here that we've got, and the ergonomics of it is really good going down the road. Everything is within arm's reach, touch, whatever. Visually, it's quite impressive going down the road.
Yes, sir. And above the cockpit area, I'm noticing the design cues. It seems like a much higher ceiling in the cockpit.
Yes, so the 9660, the roof is flat, front to rear. The Classics had a drop-down area, so this is a completely flat roof. Now it's an extension of the living room, so it looks like your living room is you know, more spacious because of that. So in this whole arrangement here, we then have the 55-inch TV that drops down here. We have cabinets on either side for storage as well, so we can drop the TV down if you'd like, so you can see.
And it's just so flush the way it fits up here that you wouldn't even know a TV was tucked way up there. And then I can just tell how robust all of the framework of that TV mount. Is that done by Liberty Coach?
No, we get it designed and then we install it from an outside source, but we do the installation of it. And what's really nice is because on the 9660 we were able to get a little bit more of a radius angle here, so we can, you know, come comfortably in and out of the coach, you know, with the TV down.
And how big is this TV?
This is a 55-inch unit.
Yeah, so very large TV up front there, and when you're done watching TV, you can just tuck it out of the way. But if you want to leave it down and go in and out of the coach, you have that flexibility.
No problem at all. And then as far as, you know, our control systems, everything we do here is done on iPad control interface to Crestron. So we've been doing Crestron installations since probably 2003. So we have the ability to build our own modules. So we get a lot of feedback from the battery systems, from the tank monitors, from the generator systems. We have a lot of stuff in here or in Crestron that we can then display on either wireless through iPad. We do our programming in-house, so we can do those type of changes, anything we want to do in-house. We have remote connectivity then to the coach, so we can modify if we need to or make updates because of the connectivity that we have via dual 5G data systems or Starlink. If the coach has Starlink on it, we can do that, or some customers have both. So they have a backup. Coaches inside of a building, you can't get Starlink, we have the cellular capabilities as well. But going back to this, so we have wireless capability here through iPad. We also have wired panels in the coach as well, so that if something, you know, hiccups on the wireless side, you can go to a wired panel and operate equipment from there, or also touch buttons throughout the coach as well. So there's a lot of redundancy built into the coach, because it's always, you know, at some point in time you're going to need it. So that's why we like to have that redundancy built into the units.
Yes, sir. And when you're tracking all of that information, I'm assuming that you're, you know, making notes and seeing where you need to make improvements in the product overall.
Sure. So we get, there's notifications that we can get from the coach also. So and the customer can as well. If your shore power drops off, customer can get notified that happens. Generator starts, you get notified when that happens. There's a number of notifications that are set up internally already, and once the customer takes delivery of the coach, then they can have that added into their system or onto their iPhone or smartphone, tablets, be able to get that precise information all the time. Helps us as well, so that we can notify a customer if they miss something, you know, we can let them know that, hey, look, the coach doesn't have shore power, batteries are getting low, You know, are you at the coach? Do we need to start the generator for you? You know, those are types of things that we can keep monitoring. That goes to our service office email, which I get a copy of, and our technicians, our team, our service team does also, so we can be, you know, on that as quickly as possible.
Yes, sir. I hear it over and over again that you have your ear to the ground in the motor coach industry, and Liberty Coach owners talk about how responsive you and your team are. You know, when there's a problem, you're going to do whatever it takes to get it rectified.
Sure.
And one other thing Liberty Coach really does amazing is the lighting. There's so many different lights going on. Do you know how many lights are in a Liberty Coach?
No, actually. In the ceiling systems, as far as the LED downlighting that we have, there's probably 30 some of them, maybe 40 of them. They're dimmable also, you know, and then of course we have the lights that are around the windows that are diffused, and also then the countertops and the toe space areas. There is a lot of lighting going on in here for sure. Dinette area here, this is the bar top arrangement that we've done many units on. Customers have been really pleased with this. We've seen this in different videos where the bar top has the TV, some don't have the TV. We also do L booths, we also do, you know, a posed booth. It's just whatever the client wants as far as that goes when we're picking out the interior. And it doesn't matter if it's quad slide, triple, or double, whatever, we can do that.
I've got to compliment the way the floors flow into the slide room here. Beautiful floors in this coach. Are these heated floors?
Yes, they are. The floors are completely heated front to rear. Low voltage, so you know you can select the areas that you want to have on as far as that goes, so it's a nice option. Ceiling systems in here, they're built to be able to accommodate taller people also. As I had mentioned before, we have 4 of the 15,000 BTU reverse cycle units that are in here. All of our ceiling systems are built around or with the ducting system of the air conditioning in mind. So we try and make sure that all of the ducting system that's in the coach is in a radius type format, so it's quieter, gives more volume, more supply, so it makes the coach, you know, cooler. Try and make it cooler with the insulation factor that we have, that Prevost has in the coach, plus the air spaces that we have between cabinetry and the backs of the cabinets, the insulation factor that we put on the back of the cabinets as well to give more insulation on the interior. So it's, you know, not working as hard as it needs to.
Yes, sir. And you mentioned earlier air seals around the slide rooms, and not only does that help the coach be quieter, but I think that helps maintain the climate control as well, whether it's hot or cold. And
certainly.
We've talked in the past, those old Liberty coaches, you had them running out, I think in Montana or Wyoming in negative
50, 60 below zero. I mean, yes, there's no question we did. So it's happened. It can happen, you know, because of the way that we heat everything on the coach as far as the interior. The engine's heated, the transmission's heated through the heat exchangers on that. You've got a lot of stuff going on there that's keeping the interior of the coach and the bays and everything else at a comfortable temperature. So we have that ability without a doubt. Those are for extreme conditions as far as that goes. You know, and again, the way the Prevost builds the chassis, the way the Prevost does the slide rooms, because these are all Prevost slides as well. So, you know, we only have one source that we have to deal with for the chassis part of it, the slides and the main part of the shell. Those are insulated as well, just like the rest of the chassis is.
Yes, sir, that makes a big difference. And I mentioned lighting earlier, and the camera operator asked if we could stand this way because that wall is so bright back there. We're almost using it as light, but I don't know if the camera can capture it because it's so bright, but there's a texture there. Is that all done by Kim in-house, or?
The panel selection, yes, it's done by her. I don't remember if that's an onyx or an agate panel, one of the two that's backlighted. It's a nice feature for sure.
Yeah, and again, extremely bright. You guys were not holding back on the lumens there.
No, not at all. So going back in here, refrigerator, Fisher Paykel refrigerator, ice flush, freezer drawer here with the ice maker built in. We have closet arrangement here, drawer storage through here. Pantry is going to be over here on this side, so you got a lot of nice room in here in the pantry.
And well lit inside of every cabinet. You know, sometimes there's lighting, but it could still be dark in there, but it's bright inside of every cabinet.
For sure. So bathroom arrangement, this feature that's on the bathroom doors is pretty cool as far as that goes. That's on both doors here. Nice countertop area here, a lot of mirror, nice storage above, a nice upholstered wall with a feature on the wall as well.
Cool decor piece, and this tile backsplash is just very rich, kind of a gold or bronze feel, and just such precise tile work the way the craftsmen at Liberty Coach do that. Just incredible. Now, coming to the middle of the coach, this is a little different configuration than some of the triple and double slides we've seen. Right. Two really large full-length mirrors here in the middle of the coach. Right. What's going on here?
Yeah, so you've got two long, big closets that are right here behind these doors. You've got the hamper down here below as well. Drawer space.
Really nice having this area across from the bathroom. So, you know, right when you get out of the shower, you come right to your closets right here. You can section off, I believe, is there a pocket air door right here?
Across here. So, you know, you can keep this area private, and then you still have access to this mid-toilet room if you wanted to also.
Yeah, very nice setup.
Washer-dryer unit, Bosch, stacked.
Bosch is a German company, and I believe you have a German heritage as well?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, the Koenigsegger name kind of gives it away a little bit. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Now, is there a reason you choose to use the Bosch appliances?
They've been good units for us as far as through many years. Size is a consideration as well. They do build those units for size characteristics that we need. They're household units, obviously, but you know, size is a consideration. Serviceability is a consideration as well. So over the years, it's proved to be a good unit for us. For the industry, actually. You know, a lot of the companies use the Bosch unit as well. Entering in here in the bedroom, we've got a king-size bed, windows along here on the slide section as well, front and rear, passenger side, nice storage above, drawers as well, nice TV, nice feature on the back wall. Textured features, maybe a little bit the camera, but it's got a 3D effect to it.
Yeah, with a pattern inside of that and then a 3D effect. Just so many subtle touches. And then, you know, even the sconce lights here with these slight gold cues, these accent pieces, just really break that white up nicely. And then I always like to point out just how the ceiling inside of the slide room with this intricate woodwork and the lighting, very well lit, but just a beautiful design pattern on the ceiling of the slide room as well.
Sure. There's a lot of work and a lot of design and a lot of hand, you know, work, craftsmanship that goes into what we do. You know, when you look at every piece, how the sections are done. This is a laminate in here. These bullnose pieces here are painted, so they have to be finished, you know, almost perfectly to make sure that they have the feature design that we're looking for on it. Around the windows, the different treatments that are around the windows, how the slide room finishes off on top. You know, where speakers are located, you wouldn't know it, but there's speakers that are located behind here. So there's a lot of things that are done in here that, you know, you don't catch right away, but as you're using the coach and kind of appreciate the amount of time and effort that goes in to build a Liberty coach, the team does a great job. There's no question.
Yes, and you can tell there's a lot of thought into the different patterns to make them all blend together. Like, you know, the lines in this ceiling pattern are similar to the lines in this ceiling pattern, just so everything flows together.
Right, exactly. We get in here, a lot of light, full rear bath here, air pocket door to close off this area as well. Vanity arrangement, the tile backsplash, a lot of storage in the lower vanity cabinet, and then we have our electronics are done on the back wall back in here, so you got a lot of ease access to be able to get to the different things, like if satellite receivers are there, Wi-Fi units are there, restaurant units are there, so that you can access all of that stuff easy enough if need be for serviceability. We've mentioned this in the past, the shower pan is a stainless steel pan that we manufacture in-house, and then it's cemented, and then tile goes on. We have rock board that's in here as well, so there's no way for water to get out of the shower area. So when you look at used coaches like you were in before as well, those you're not going to have any issues as far as water getting out of the shower area, creating issues, you know, behind the walls, moisture, what have you. So there's quite a bit to be said for that.
That came into mind when I was in one of your coaches that was almost 40 years old. I'm like, all right, where's the smells in it, especially around that shower area? And it was just like, no smells in a 40-year-old coach. I've never seen. It's hard to find something like that out there.
Try and build it the same way to make sure that that doesn't happen. The shower's nice and big. You know, good sized shower in here, nice height. You know, it's got a lot of room as far as that goes. Niche area here for storing, you know, the soaps and shampoos and whatever else you want to put in there.
Yeah, over the top backsplash and then a hidden drain on the floor. Just incredible the way you put that together. And then also the backsplash behind the sink there. Very tight tile work. I can imagine that laying that tile, that takes some serious skill to have that, you know, intricate of tile work there.
For sure, absolutely.
Now, what is the current availability if someone wants to custom order a brand new Liberty coach?
Right now we're looking at orders for delivery, I think June, July. of next year of 2026. Those units can be configured doubles, triples, quads, however they want to be as far as that goes. So we've still got a pretty good book of new units being built out there.
And what's your current pre-owned inventory?
Pre-owned inventory, I think we've probably got 8 or 9 units that are in inventory at this time. We've got equipment that's in the Motorhome Exchange, our other company, from 2007 on up to 2015. In Liberty Coach, we've got units that are 2016, 18, we've got a 2022, we've got 2020s as well. So we've got a pretty good selection of really nice stuff.
And I can imagine there's some value in a pre-owned Liberty Coach coming here to Liberty Coach, having your Liberty Coach technicians go through it. What type of a PDI process do you put your pre-owned inventory through?
We do a very extensive PDI. I mean, it's probably 250, 270 points that we go through. We make sure all the equipment is working properly. We try and make sure that the coach is working as great as it can. I mean, we go through everything. The service on the chassis, we look underneath to make sure that there's anything chassis-wise that needs to be done. Interior-wise, we go through all the componentry there. So there's a significant amount that we do all the way around on our PDI. And I don't believe that there's anybody that does it as an extensive of a PDI as we do. No question.
Yes, sir. And I have to mention, too, I noticed so many Liberty Coach owners staying in the Liberty Coach family. So they might trade in for a new Liberty Coach, but there's a lot of, Liberty for Liberty. So, a lot of these coaches coming in on trade, people are getting a new Liberty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a significant amount of them are. And then we have some people that, either life changes and they want to, get out of coaching altogether. We'll get those coaches in either on consignment or buy. However that works out, and then we've got those available too. So that's all part of our inventory that we have. So we've got a great selection. Website, www.libertycoach.com, you can see what we've got there. And then again, the other company, we have the Motorhome Exchange, so you've got that website also. Liberty Coach, that's going to be 10 years and older of production. That's how we cut that line right there, is that anything that's older than 10 years of production goes to the Motorhome Exchange.
Yes, sir. Well, the Liberty Coach owners are extremely loyal to Liberty Coach, so definitely shows in the resale values as we see them come on the market. They definitely command more of a premium than any other motor coach in the world. So we greatly appreciate the opportunity to see your latest and greatest here. Now, if someone wants to step up and purchase a new or pre-owned Liberty Coach, who can they get a hold of?
Well, they can get a hold of us here at the dealership. The phone number 800-554-9877. You can go on the website, look through that. You can email in coachsales@libertycoach.com. I get copied on that as well as our team, so I'll make sure that it gets out to the people, distributed properly. Then we'll go from there. I mean, it's we have a great team of salespeople that are very knowledgeable. They've been in the industry a lot of years, so we try and make sure that we're taking care of the customer as best we can. Service-wise, when we do on that, same thing, call in, same number, 800-554-9877, or email serviceoffice@libertycoach.com, and then we'll get that distributed out to where it needs to go as well to make sure that we're staying on top of our service situation too.
Awesome, Frank. Well, I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it and can't wait to see it.
Yep, my pleasure. Also greatly appreciate all of you subscribing to the channel and liking these videos, and also checking out Liberty Coach's social media accounts. We greatly appreciate all of you and hope you're all having a great day.
Thank you. As opposed to any other chassis that's out there, is made to run millions of miles, without a doubt. The craftsmanship that it takes to do this, it takes time to get the team that we have in place to be able to get to this level.